We talk about boss strategies, level strategies, hell, item strategies all the time, but what about when something is so well designed that the strategy is actually to avoid an encounter altogether? It's hard enough inceptioning the way a player is supposed to navigate your game as is, but giving us enough of a prod down an entirely different route intentionally while still not breaking the game, that is cause for celebration. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 7 video game boss fights you can secretly avoid. Quick note, while the majority of what I'm covering are based around narrative or gameplay based rules from the designers, there are a couple of really cool modless exploits in here too. Number 7. USHA, The Sinking City. 2019's The Sinking City from various Sherlock Holmes game developer Frogwares remains a supremely shiny hidden gem. A love letter to H.P. Lovecraft, you play private detective Charles Reed, traveling to the town of Oakmont to try and solve the mystery of why both he and the many other people there are having bizarre visions, following a supernatural flood. There is a whole bunch more going on, but that basic gist puts you in an explorative mindset that lets you question a huge variety of memorable characters, eventually talking to young undead priestess USHA about what lies beneath the town itself. As a main revealer of plot details, there's an associated boss fight many players have, as it triggers automatically when arriving in her underwater hideout. However, if you made a point of agreeing to her task of killing one Joseph Hill when you first come across USHA earlier on, you can avoid the duel, but in a notably cowardly way. Actually popping the Dodge This trophy as the devs wanted to acknowledge your methods, once Hill has been taken care of and you arrive in USHA's hideout, you can actually have a conversation with her that ends with you saying you wish her well. USHA, now trusting you, turns around, letting you literally shoot and kill her with a shot to the back of the head. This method then pops the Matrix-inspired trophy and completely circumvents the fight itself. Number 6. The CAPRA Demon and Gaping Dragon. Dark Souls. Dark Souls might be the most influential video game of the 2010s, a brilliantly bold action RPG with memorable bosses, art direction and music, but it's also been hacked to pieces by fans because of it. With that in mind, and with the bosses here being one of the main draws to whether you can conquer what From Software designed or not, there's a whole other skill level associated with boss skipping itself. As such, one popular exploit was showcased best at Games Done Quick 2020, where the player known as Ragol parried a specific hollow enemy while standing on a specific step on a staircase, triggering a total boundary break that let him wander through the game to various boss battles and beyond. Another fun and far easier trick to deploy though involves deliberately heading through the Valley of the Drakes as early as possible, skipping the CAPRA Demon, Gaping Dragon, and even the oversized rat boss. There are a number of ways to do this, involving everything from lowering the water in New Londo Ruins to bypassing later locked doors with a master key you can equip from the start, but the point is the Valley of the Drakes can let you go straight to Blighttown. With the sewers and even their access point no longer needed, that's 3 bosses, one of which, the CAPRA Demon, is notably hard anyway, taken care of. Admittedly, these optional paths can be a tougher way to go and you'll be more underleveled, but hey, you're playing Dark Souls, now you don't want a challenge? Number 5. Master. Fallout. Fallout is so synonymous with Bethesda at this point, you forget every last thing that makes the franchise so identifiable and beloved actually came from Black Isle Studios, many years before Bethesda would acquire the IP. Case in point, the original Fallout, and a brilliant tone of mostly grounded exploration across the post-apocalyptic wasteland, with occasionally hilarious or quirky side missions and characters to find. One thing that's utterly terrifying though is the mutant leader who goes by many names, largely referred to as Master. An amalgam of various humans, mutants, and even computer parts, the Master's twisted visage you come face to face with at the close of the game can lead to one hell of a tough showdown. Being Fallout though, there is a way around the encounter entirely. First off, you need suitably high intelligence and speech stats, but you also need to have completed a specific quest for Brotherhood member Vree, where you can obtain a holotape saying that the Master's proposed super mutants are actually emerging sterile. Being Master's grand plan is to essentially make a whole new race of all-powerful beings, the realization his entire life's work has now fallen apart is enough to make him regret everything that led to this point. Deciding he now can't do anything about it, the former Richard Moreau shuts himself down. Number 4. Warden Eternal. Halo 5. Halo 5 has not aged the best. Its marketing campaign was a total lie, the content of what was there didn't feel especially memorable, and even the final boss is a copy of something you fought twice beforehand. With that in mind then, YouTuber 360 Game TV started looking into ways to bypass the final duel altogether, realizing that thanks to the controversial ground pound feature, there is a way to pass by without triggering the fight. Though both ground pound and shoulder barge were roundly rejected by the Halo faithful, at least they eventually had a specific use. In the footage, 360 Game TV found a specific spot in the final level, which is thankfully easily reachable, where you can ground pound your way across to the final platform, triggering the last few cutscenes instead. Number 3. GUNTHER, HERMANN and NAVARRE. Deus Ex. It's hard to replicate just why Deus Ex was such a massive deal in the industry, considering just how many titles have since taken and ran with its core ideas. The art direction and script were instantly engaging as emerging video game royalty Warren Spector was given a blank check by Doom's John Romero to create whatever he liked, and the result was one of the first hyper-interactive game worlds to get lost in. We talk about your actions having meaning today, but Deus Ex writ that large. Not one but two otherwise tough bosses, GUNTHER, HERMANN and NAVARRE, could be completely bypassed by having conversations. Truly, it was unheard of and is still notable today. In both cases, you needed to find these androids' kill phrases, done by talking to partner Jamie Reyes about GUNTHER's and hacking two specific computers to piece together NAVARRE's. These would give you Laputin Machine and Flatlander Woman respectively. Protagonist Jesus Christ Denton would bust these phrases out next time you encounter both androids, leading to them questioning how you could possibly know before exploding on the spot. Number 2. Literally any boss. Dead Cells. With around 25% of players managing to actually beat Dead Cells, on PlayStation anyway, it's safe to say the bosses themselves are a major roadblock. Yes, the game's core RNG means you can be fighting uphill for hours with a bad build if things don't go your way, but thanks to the brilliantly named Skip McLazy YouTube channel, they've found one hell of a technique to help. Letting you literally zip past every last boss and even help with trophies and endgame weapons, McLazy discovered that by combining the War Javelin weapon with the Lightspeed technique produced a ludicrously fun game break that's very easy to deploy. To break down, the War Javelin is a weapon you can teleport to after it's thrown. Normally you do this to evade enemies or skip a small part of the level while still making forward momentum, maybe use it to cross an expanse that a standard jump wouldn't reach. For this exploit though, just throw it when on the run up to a boss. Face the other way and hit your Lightspeed technique while hitting the Javelin button again to collect. Instead of stopping at the Javelin itself, you'll fly right past anything on a vertical plane, avoiding the boss trigger and landing at the exit. McLazy notes that you can even do this for the final fight too, maybe getting that percentage number up past a third of all players if enough people give it a shot. And number 1, SAREN. Mass Effect. If there's one thing you realize going back through Mass Effect's Legendary Edition collection, it's that the trajectory of the trilogy really dovetailed into all-out action with hoorah soldier archetypes by the end. With Mass Effect 2 the sweet spot between explorative RPG and cover shooter, it's that first installment that really embodied piloting a ship through the stars. As Shepard hunting down the rogue special agent SAREN, you're free to visit tons of planets, making scores of decisions that shape the sort of commander you want to be. In the end though, all roads lead to a showdown against the Turian Spectre himself. However, in a move that cemented BioWare's 2000s run as the finest in the studio's career, if you'd played your cards right across the previous 20-ish hours, you can actually talk SAREN out of the entire first phase of his fight. You'll need to have either picked specific conversation options when talking to him on planet Vermeer, or have enough overall charm or intimidate points to convince him in the moment. If you've spec'd right though, you can make the former decorated officer regain his senses, if only for a moment. During this brief time away from Reaper Sovereign's control, the real SAREN will thank you for your efforts, before taking his own life in an attempt to stop the Reaper invasion. As you'll quickly find out, Sovereign is not so easily discarded, but it does mean that SAREN got something of a redemption. All told, honestly, where is this BioWare in the modern day? And those are just 7 video game boss fights you can secretly avoid. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below, and please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.